So hello everyone and welcome to Life Skills Sunday. Sorry, I'm talking to a computer and a phone, so please excuse me if I'm not making eye contact the whole time. Here to talk about Life Skills Sunday. I know it's another Sunday here in lockdown, and I want to keep it short and sweet with some key takeaways that people can work on and hopefully draw some information from. That will be my little puppy dog. Hey Bubba. Hello. Philip will join us. I'm live with the Green Street Juice Clan. Thank you, buddy. Cool. I am recovering from a bit of knee surgery, so Uncle Philip takes a couple for walks because I'm not allowed to do all the walking. So today we're going to be talking about motivation and discipline, particularly a hot topic. See you, buddy. Particularly a hot topic at the moment as we are all still in lockdown and the weeks have rolled on. I've found a lot of people in my conversations with them, even on the streets, are talking about or asking me questions about motivation and discipline, the difference between the two, how to build both, and what they should do. Do you want to hop down? Otherwise I'll get distracted. Motivation and discipline, what is it? What's the difference between the two? Are they both the same? Discipline is something that has to be built upon and formed from your own motivations. And discipline is actually derived from intrinsic motivation. Easiest way for me to provide context to this is to talk about my career in the military. Everyone seems to think the military has a very a discipline that really inculcates and maintains high levels of discipline, and that's absolutely true. But I'll tell you what, that doesn't happen from day one. The way in which discipline is brought about immediately is by extrinsic motivational factors, by drill sergeants, by teams, by others influencing you. And you know that yourself. You get caught out in the rain, the extrinsic motivation gets you faster from point A to point B to keep yourself dry. Intrinsic motivation is that which is derived inside from you. That is that fire that burns within you to cause you to do things without any form of extrinsic motivation, without anyone watching you, without anyone holding you to be accountable. And that's a key word I want to talk about. Discipline is only able to be maintained through accountability. And that again comes down to that extrinsic or intrinsic motivation. Who is holding you accountable? Is something outside of you holding you accountable? Extrinsic motivation, extrinsic accountability, or intrinsic motivation, internal accountability and internal motivation. So particularly during this time, if you're like me, you've gone for probably a situation whereby you've had a lot of extrinsic motivators around you holding you accountable to yourself, your team, and what you do. We're now working and operating within our own homes. And without those extrinsic motivators, this is where we get to see if you actually have true discipline, as your intrinsic motivators are those which are now required to hold you accountable and allow you to lose your way along that discipline cycle. So for myself, case in point, we really need to be talking so much about nutrition at the moment, because if you're like me and if you're like the 15 people who worked into the Green Street Juice Sydney store today, you're having problems with snacking at home. You're going off your usual diet and regime. You're going into bored eating. You're probably drinking more wine, drinking more alcohol at home. We know what's going on. We're being much more sedentary, much more static, sitting down a lot more. So I actually run into my biggest issues with motivation and discipline when I'm not around others. I will binge eat the crap out of the secret little sweet drawer we've got over there when no one else is around. But when people are around, I hold myself accountable to them and I try and maintain a healthy eating pattern. And I do maintain healthy eating and good nutrition when I'm around others. I look back through my military career and I've always been, as an officer, responsible for others. And as such, I was required to lead by example and hold myself accountable to them. And even throughout my entire life, the way I draw my personal value, my culture and my values, and the way I derive value each and every day, and in my love language, acts of service, is through the accountability of others. So I actually perform at my worst when I'm just accountable to myself. And it's very important to note that. And if you're like me, and particularly during these times, whereby those extrinsic motivators, those extrinsic accountability factors are being removed, you then need to draw deep down and find and reflame, let's use that word, reflame those intrinsic motivators to be able to hold yourself accountable. And if you can't do that, you need to help build upon that. So for me, and you just met him beforehand, very small things like during the day, I am fortunate enough to be in this lockdown with my pet. And as a bare minimum, I have to hold myself accountable to him because he is completely reliable upon me. Those of you with pets at home, with family and children at home, it's very easy for you, and it should be very easy for you to draw upon that to provide you with those extrinsic motivators if you're not having them own your own intrinsic motivators yourself. Particularly at the moment, we're on Sunday. Monday to Friday, most of us are maintaining a pretty good working discipline, a working regime, as we're still required to perform probably working from home functions. But it's on the weekends where I'm hearing from a lot of people, they're really starting to struggle with, again, their motivation levels. The best way I have found to help increase your daily motivation levels is through accomplishing more small things. And 2 weeks ago, we spoke about routine. The easiest way to set about reinstigating that motivation within you is to have small, achievable accomplishments that continue to fuel you and motivate and perpetuate your momentum forward in motivation. However, there are those times where we really need to get up and go. I mean, I myself this morning didn't feel like doing anything before going to the store, but I woke up and actually jumped on my social media and I saw some guy on there did some bicep curl challenge. And I was like, why not? Get up there and challenge yourself, push yourself out of your comfort zone. Use social media and share it with people. It's not a vanity thing. It's actually a community and connectivity thing. It's provided me with conversations to be able to have with people all day long via social media. And it's helped to inspire me to want to do that again because it, one, made me feel good. I had a sense of accomplishment. I'm doing something that's healthy and good for my body, and I'm communicating with others. Okay, all those factors that help bring me out of myself, helping me be more accountable to others, drawing on those extrinsic motivators, and then when no one else is watching, making me remember that feeling of accomplishment, registering that as an intrinsic motivator and wanting to achieve that again, something that I can purely bring about myself without anyone else around. These are such small, tiny things, and I'm very motivated by fitness, but apply that to where you draw your value from. Nutrition, doing something for others, mindfulness, doing a breathing technique, doing a yoga class, taking some time to sit down and talk with your family about the current situations, investing in a personal growth or development thing. Going back to those core principles you've heard me talk about through the Swiss 8 team, through talking about routine 2 weeks ago, small and achievable mindsets. I myself, again, like I said, I've really found myself falling off my nutrition. I'm actually going to set myself the goal to conduct a cleanse in May. And again, as I've said before, I need others to help me be accountable. So if you want to join me in doing a cleanse in May, it's probably going to be May is the end of 1 week, so that following week, starting the 4th of May or something. But let's work together. Let's do a cleanse together. Let's get this community back together. It can be a 3-day, it can be a 5-day, it can be whatever you want above that. I know myself that for me, when I do like a 3-day reset cleanse, it helps me really reset and refocus. My skin, my sleep, my moods, my emotions, my gut health, my bloating, everything else in between, like I need that. At the moment, I'm just using my food as a source of boredom eating. When I'm feeling lack of motivation, I depressed eat. Whatever you put in is fueling what you're fueling outside yourself and fueling your actions and your emotions in particular. So if you'd like to join me in a cleanse, shoot me a message. Let's set up a bit of a May cleanse community here on the Green Street Fan crew. And for those watching, feel free to shoot me a message and we can definitely set that up to help us draw that, again, extrinsic motivation in during a time where our health and our fitness is so paramount. Again, we keep talking about this, the physical effects of this virus, the mental effects are even more so that are going to be felt, and the healthier we are on the inside and the outside is going to help fuel and regulate our emotions and our mental health. So it's very important to be all in this together. Recognize that we are going to have lapses. Motivation is best fueled from within, but hey, external is actually the easiest way to do it. So get together and get it done and help others be motivated. Understand what motivates you and just start setting small little accomplishable things each day to do, because success breeds success and momentum builds. The worst thing you can do is keep putting things off, keep putting exercise off, keep procrastinating and not achieving things. And that actually also works as momentum spiral you further down and down into the rabbit hole that is the depression rabbit hole and breeds anxiety further. Cool. All right, that is it for me. I'm just checking over my little notes that I have here. Actually, I just want to finish with a little bit more context of where I've come from. The last 2 years of my military career, I was actually responsible for playing a key part in running the Special Forces selection course. So in 2010, I did my own selection course, and I remember what it felt like from the receiving end. And then that last year, I really got to spend some time working with some much smarter people than myself, breaking down how we actually go about the selection of people, including assessing EQ, emotional quotient, emotional intelligence. And there was in particular this point of we would call silent running of the course. So during this point, the instructional staff were required to not engage with or demonstrate any form of emotion, either encouragement or lack thereof, to the candidate. So no positive or negative reinforcement. And that was even so much that we would wear our wraps up around our face so you couldn't actually see if we were showing emotion. Unlike me, my eyebrows usually gave it away most of the time. But just imagine you're doing these physically arduous tasks and you're not receiving any form of affirmation, either positive or negative, as to how you're going. You're just simply told to continue going. Complement this with then phases whereby we would send people out for 3 days into the bush to carry a pack and do a navigation exercise, navigating around the field. These were the times where we actually found most people to self-withdraw themselves from the selection course, because they received no form of positive or negative affirmation, no form of extrinsic motivation to help them gauge what they were doing and actually motivate them to do what they were doing. And it was during this time we were actually able to break them down with their physical fatigue, but also that mental fatigue by not having that affirmation, not having that response, not having that reinforcement, either positive or negative in what they were doing, causing them then to not have extrinsic motivation, rely on their intrinsic motivation, and whatever was actually fueling them, be that trying to prove to someone else or some form of sense of purpose that was not actually authentic, it readily crumbled, and they made the decision in their own head that that motivation wasn't enough to help them continue going, and they withdrew themselves from the course. So that's where I myself, on the receiving end of that, learned just the true power of extrinsic motivation and how powerful it was to have, we talk about that happy place, that feeling of that emotion within your body that really helps fuel you forward when there isn't anything else around you and there are no eyes watching you, and you could basically get away with doing whatever you want, but you're still motivated to do the right thing. And for me, that was my family thinking about being back on the couch with mum's home-cooked meals and leading up to that selection course, and just that feeling and that sense of family and community I had and those that I wanted to do proud. And you can imagine that was a very strong bond for me, able to withstand all those tries and torture, particularly given it was sort of raised through my moral upbringing as a child. So that's where we're at the moment, at a very small, much smaller end of the scale. But for those who've never been through such a process, you're going through it now. You're experiencing those lacks of motivation. You're experiencing those lacks of extrinsic support that usually help you hold yourself accountable if you're not used to holding yourself accountable as it is. So it's important to recognize that, realize that we're all human, we're all regulated by our emotions, and they go up and they go down. So during this time, set yourself small achievable goals, draw on others, help get motivation from others. We're humans, we're better as a community, we're pack animals. And as such, join me within the Cleanse crew in May, and let's help reset, re-kick, and get ourselves ready for whatever comes next. Healthy mind, body, and spirit, physical, mental, and emotional health. Cool. That's it from me. Please feel free to come over and message and talk to me. My handle's @HestonRussell. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you all around. Look forward to answering some of your questions. And if not, keep smiling and keep happy and healthy. I'll speak to you next time. Bye.